folks, good morning. It's about, I don't know, 8:10 a.m. It's actually, today's July 13th. That's good. I'm sitting in front of Sherry here. And to be honest, I didn't think I was going to make this video. Yeah. My full intention was that I was not going to have this car. Now you might be wondering, well, it's the 13th, it's not technically 1 year yet. Okay, it's close enough to the 17th, and I always pre-record my videos anyway, so in that regard, it doesn't matter. Anyways, wow, 1 year. 1 year I've owned this this woman behind me, this car. A lot's changed in that year, but then again, what really has? There's not a whole lot that I could name, but I mean, in the world, you know, she's changed. I bought this car on July 17th, everyone knows that, up in Bay City. I paid a good price for it, probably way over book value, but screw it. Had 82,100 miles on it. It now sits at 88,500 something. So, as you can tell, I don't drive that much. It has been bulletproof, driving wise. It's never once strained me, it's never once given me issues. You know, knock on metal. Never once had issues with it. It's had repairs done, but I've never had any serious things with it. And I thought about getting a new car back in January. I was looking at something, and I was looking at something now, and pretty much decided after the last car I looked at was a no-go. I said, screw it, we're done. So, I'm going to go ahead and reveal now, too, what I was looking at buying. So, in the video that no longer exists, I took down the video about saying goodbye and everything. This is the last video you're going to see. I took that video down, if you haven't noticed. It's unlisted. So if you have the link, you can still watch it, because the information in it is no longer true. The car I was looking at buying, and the reason that in that video I mentioned the next car is going to be not as big but just as fun, was because I was looking to get a Saturn Ion. There's the neighbor starting his Tahoe, or a Jeep, I don't know which one. I was looking at getting an Ion or an S-Series. After that, and pretty much for the last month or two, it's been two cars. 3800 GM, specifically a Buick, because I wanted something with a column shifter, as opposed to what this car has, which is the floor shifter, which almost looks like you're jacking off a dick or something. The other car was a Panther body Ford. And yeah, you're going to say, really? Yeah, I was looking at a Grand Marquis. In fact, the lady who I went to look at the Grand Marquis with locally fucked around, and it ended up being a no-go because she didn't even fucking show up. And that was, I still am convinced that that was poor communication on her end, because I told her, 6 o'clock, Subway at Pennsylvania and Mount Hope, done, let's meet there. Oh, are you at Subway? You're at Subway? And I was like, fuck you, I waited 15 minutes extra for you. It's 6:15, I'm fucking leaving. And I knew going in, if this car didn't work out, this was going to be the final one. I was done looking at cars. The amount of stress it was putting on me was insane. She didn't show up, I said, we're done. We're done. Putting everything back in Sherry. It's my car again. Take the for sale signs out and everything. Because I had for sale signs in it, but I hadn't like posted it to, you know, fuck Marketplace or anything, Craigslist. And to be honest, I'm kind of glad I did. Sherry's not the perfect car, but then again, there's no such thing as the perfect car. I mean, really, no car is perfect. Literally, no car is perfect. The most reliable car in the world still could have issues, and it will have issues. There is no such thing as a perfect car. If there was such thing as a perfect car, everybody would buy it. Some cars get pretty darn close, you know, like a Toyota Camry or something, or a Chevy Silverado. Some cars get pretty close, but none do it. If the Toyota Camry was the perfect car, everyone would have one. But it isn't. And around here, not many people have Toyota Camrys. They're easily outnumbered by LeSabre, Park Avenue, I don't know. It helps that we're in Michigan, which is Motor City, so pretty much a lot of stuff you see is Big Three. But besides that, yeah, I'm glad I didn't sell Sherry, because the bond you form with your first car is different than every other car you're gonna own, which I know for a fact is true. You know, you don't bond the same way with your fifth car or your fourth, third, seventh, 12th car. You just don't. You know, my dad's first car was a 1978 Buick LeSabre, custom sedan, 3.8 V6, pre-3800, but it was a V6. He loved that car. And while it may not be his favorite car he's ever owned, now that he's owned, what, 13 cars, 12, 11, I think 11. May not be his favorite, it's special because it was his first car. He didn't even buy it, it was his dad's car. He didn't even technically even take ownership of it until he graduated high school. He borrowed it in high school, but he didn't technically have full free range to it. And then his second car, which was a 1986 Dodge Caravan LE, that was his mom's old car, which he only got because the LeSabre blew up. And then his third car was a 1993 Dodge Shadow, if I'm getting this in the correct order. That was his mom's other old car. So then his fourth car, I believe, was the Del Sol. I'll have to check that. I think it was the Del Sol. He had a 95 Honda Del Sol, automatic. He bought that car brand new at Capital Honda, I think. And he only had it for a year because he got into an accident. But, you know, that was the first car he ever had that was technically all his, because he bought it, he paid for it, it was not given to him by someone, it was brand new, it was from the dealer, you know. Excuse me. And then, you know, after that was totaled, he went into a 96 Dodge Neon. Yeah, it was a first gen, so RCR will be happy, but still. He had that was a lease. The Del Sol was a lease, but it got totaled after a year. It was after the Accord was a lease. He had an Accord after that, 99 Accord. What was after the Accord? The Jetta, the first Jetta, the 02 Jetta was a lease, the blue one. The BMW he bought. The BMW, it was a 1986 BMW 535i in gray. He had that, he bought that used for $400 because a woman whose husband was a doctor died, so it was just sitting in their yard. So he bought it for $400. It rusted out. It was already rusted out then, but it rusted out even more. It was loud as shit because it had no muffler. And it was rear-wheel drive, which sucked dick in the winter. And I'm pretty sure you can't tell him this, but he's still scarred from that. Because when I wanted to get a Panther body, he said, no, you're going to get stuck every time you try to drive. It's not fucking true. But, yeah. That car, when I was a kid, terrified me because it had no muffler. So it sounded like the Key Keepers. No, what did it sound like? It sounded like the stereotypical, when you think of car that every single car at the 4-way, 5-lane in each way intersection can hear 2 miles down the road coming up to the intersection, it sounds like that.
I wish you could appreciate how loud that really is.
He only had that, I think, for 3 years. I think in 2007 is when he got the Civic, which he bought used. And then he got the Escape from a Ford employee who, he bought it in 2012 because the 13 Escape had come out. So the guy who bought the 11 new didn't want the 11 because he was getting the new body style, so my dad bought the Escape. And then obviously the Jetta was used from Suburban Imports, so that's my dad's history. I've asked him what his favorite car was before. He said it was probably the BMW. Despite all of its issues, it was just so cool. If not, then it was the Del Sol and the Buick, I think were probably his favorites. So my mom, on the other hand, she's not really a car person. You know, her first 5 cars were all the same. 1985 Audi 5000. That's what you get when your dad is Jack's Transworks. They were fine, but then again, she only ever got new cars when he said, hey, I found one that has air conditioning, or I found one that's a different color, I found one with leather seats. So pretty much each one was an upgrade from the last. Keep in mind that this is the same woman who leased 6 cars in the last 17 years. So, yeah. She doesn't exactly keep cars for very long. Although we did buy this one out, so hopefully it'll stay for a while. Or at least we'll get a used car. Alright, I don't know why I'm blabbing on about that, but yeah. I'm so thankful that I'm in a position where I don't have to give up my first car financially. Because, you know, it's my first car. It's special. I bought it with my money. That's another thing most people can't say. I bought my first car. In cash. Knock on plastic. Yeah. So, it's been a year. I hope to keep it going a lot longer. I love this car. It may not be the perfect car for my lifestyle. It may not be the perfect car in general, but it's a car. It gets me around. It's reliable, and I love it. So, that's really all that matters. So with that, I'm going to close the video. Oh yeah, admire this wonderful emblem from Advance Auto Parts, which cost way too much money, but it's cool nonetheless. I like it. Oh yeah, and one real quick addendum. For the first time since I bought this car, actually it was the 4th of July, I saw its twin driving out. Beige Monte Carlo. Because I was looking at a Grand Prix in a very sketchy part of Lansing. When we left to come home, her sister was out driving around. I think it was an LS model, but it was beige and it would beat the hell. That was a sign. Admittedly, I think that was a sign. It really was, to be honest. That was a sign. And my dad's like, oh, I see these driving around all the time. And I'm like, no, you don't. You see the newer ones. He's like, no, I see the kind like you have. And I'm like, why aren't you telling me? I thought mine was the only one left in existence. Jesus Christ. All right, that's it. That's all I wanted to add. Thank you for watching. Feel free to subscribe and click like if you like what you see. And follow me on webwix.com/theelevatorworld/fans. Bye-bye, and cheers. Sherry is here to stay. See you later, everyone.